Just getting there. Alright, go.
I'm going to demonstrate today more milling methods that are a bit more like, say, possible for the small man with not a huge amount of money to invest in a big sawmill. So how we're going to do things with the family or a small communal scenario where we can sort of get by with general basics. Going to demonstrate what they call a vertical mini mill, which is this device. It's a jig attachment for your chainsaw, and it'll hold the chainsaw up like this, and you'll push it like so on a track. Right here I've got a board, relatively straight, doesn't need to be perfect because the milling will actually trim the board if you need this edge, and it will slide on this angle, this track which they give you as part of the package. So all I did was shoot a string line straight up, and I screwed all these tracks onto the board down that nice straight line. So we have a nice track now, and as you can see, it slides down there quite smoothly. I would have liked to have shown the milling using this, getting this result that I'm at now, but I've been in a bit of like busy, so I didn't. But I'm gonna, before I finished it, I wanted to just like demonstrate it so you get a bit of an idea, and then you can piece together the rest yourself. Alright, so we want to consider the type of material we're using and how big the job is. We have a grading here of sort of chainsaws, and here we've got a smaller 30cc saw. I could mill this job that I'm about to do with this, no worries. I've done in my structure, I've demonstrated how we can freehand mill without any jigs and whatsoever, and I did it using this saw here. And then we've got a 55cc, and then we've got a 60. So I'll probably use this today because it's just a bit lighter. It's an 036, sort of your mid-range. And then if I'm milling hardwoods, larger stuff that's really going to put load on the saw, this is 80ccs. This is kind of what you want, but you know, I'll probably get an extension bar, and that's for slabs and hardwood, really heavy duty sort of milling. This will do the trick. So I'll demonstrate how to mount it on. Just a spanner with you. Just these two bolts is all it requires. I don't want to put my bar through the whole way because I'll hit the ground. So I've got about 150 mil in soil, or so 200. So I'm just going to mount it without that much protruding. We'll adjust this like once I've got this track fitted onto the job, I can just quickly alter this if need be, and I'll demonstrate first how we get the track on before I make the final adjustments to my jig. But I'll just get it mostly there, just like that. So I'm going to shoot a chalk line through here at the width of the board that I want to make. So I want it about 120 mil to get off any of this kind of rough discard and this dry rot up there. We'll trim through that, and then we'll have a nice rafter or just structural timber around, basically, for building anything. So I've got myself a chalk line. Just like so. Sometimes I like to put a little nick right on where my mark is. That just helps my chalk line bind in. Got a mark, but it's a bit faint. So I'm just going to redo it. It's just because I think I have to put more chalk in them. Would help. We'll get it done. Yep, that's distinguishable. Now if we had a track that was long enough for this rafter, because this is like 5.2 meters, they only give you enough to, like for about 3.5 meters. You could easily make yourself more, or you might get another pack, because they're only about 140 from memory, this jig assembly. But for most people's needs, 3.5 is okay. Or you do what I'm doing here, we'll chalk line it and then I'll just slide the track up and finish the job. Rightio. Give yourself a bit of overhang, because the track has about that much width or length. We're accurate on our line. I've just got a couple of screws with me. Secure your board. Three for good measure. Now we're going to just test how our jig sort of looks on the track. Tell you what, it looks alright. Going to get the round board. And slide it down a fraction. Just so there's not so much weight up, but it doesn't really matter actually. We'll see how we go with that. So I have a shifter here, a spanner rather. Here we go. Just make sure your chain obviously flows freely through the jig. You don't want that colliding with the metal. And I like them a bit more. Some of you that are into the milling and this kind of stuff, the typical assembly is called an Alaskan mill, and usually it's like offset steel or members here, and then a track that's exactly parallel the bar. So once you get one flat plane on your log, then that offset flat bar runs along that surface, and that's how you slab. But I find this is quicker and more manageable and less material. I'm sure there's pros and cons to both. Alright, I think we're about ready to go. Unless there's something I haven't considered here. Looking good. Nice and easy to handle. Safety equipment. You get the picture. I won't mill the whole job yet because we can only upload videos so big. But as you can see, pretty nice surface. For the sake of this video, I'm going to lift up and show you the edge. The timber. Actually, no, we'll leave it at that. Show you this side. Pretty attractive result. There's nothing wrong with it. Little touch up with a plane or a sander just gives you a bit more pretty finish than freehand milling, and it's very portable. You can take it into the bush and do it anywhere. That's what I consider the most practical balance. And that's about it. So we'll see you next time.